Hi guys, today we are going to talk about multiplying fractions using the models, and the I can statement we're working on is I can multiply fractions using models. This is also quadrant 1, so you may have done this in class with me, but if not, just you can follow along here. And the front side of the worksheet, the companion that you have, will be the work we do together. The back side is for you to do on your own, and there's also a challenge. So, all right, let's begin. If I wanted to multiply 2/3 times 3/4, the models that we make are very similar to the ones we make when we were multiplying with decimals. So the only difference is we don't have a 10 by 10 grid that we're going to be making. In this case, we are going to look at our denominators, and that's going to give us the dimensions of the rectangle that we draw. So here I've got a denominator of 3, denominator of 4. So that means that I am going to make a rectangle that is a 3 by 4. Okay? And just like I did with multiplying with decimals, I look and I see how many thirds, because there are 3 rows, how many thirds do I need? Well, I need 2 thirds. And then I look and say, well, how many fourths do I need? And that would be represented by my columns, 1, 2, 3, 4. And you would say, well, I need 3. So what I'm going to shade in is a 2 by 3 rectangle. And then I look and see, of my original rectangle, how many squares were there? Well, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So out of 12 squares, how many do I have shaded in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I have 6 shaded in. So my answer, 2/3 times 3/4, is 6/12, which of course then I can go ahead and simplify to 1/2. Okay, let's try that again. Let's look at number 2. Number 2 is 6/7 times 2/5. So I start by making my rectangle. And in this case, remember the denominators tell us what the dimensions of our rectangle are going to be. So this rectangle is going to be a 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 by 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here is the rectangle that I'm going to use to multiply 6/7 times 2/5. And so out of my 7 rows, I need 6. And out of my 5 columns, I need 2. So I'm going to shade in a 6 by 2 rectangle inside my model. And now I count. What is my total? How many squares do I have? Well, it's a 7 by 5. So I can multiply and say, well, that's 35 squares total to make up the whole model. And 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12 of them are shaded in. So 12 35ths is my product of 6/7 times 2/5. Now, as we go through this lesson, you may be making some observations. Make sure to jot those down in your composition book. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 is 3/5 times 1/2. So I need to start by making my rectangle. And again, the denominators tell me the dimensions of my rectangle because I need fifths and halves. So my rectangle is going to be a 5 by 2. So it's just a little rectangle. And because I need 3 of those fifths and 1 of those halves, I'm going to shade in a 3 by 1 rectangle. And this will show me my product. I look and I say, how many make up the whole model? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 make up the whole model. And 3 of those have been shaded in. So I have 3/10. That's my product. Again, don't forget, if you are noticing any patterns, make sure you write those down. Let's do number 4. For number 4, you have, now this one's going to be a little different. You have 1 3/4 times 2/3. Now looking here, I'm going to need more than 1 of my fourths squares represented. So what I'm going to really have here is I'm going to have fourths here, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4 by 3. That would be my, using my denominators, that would be the size of my rectangle. And this time though, instead of having only 1 of them, I'm going to have to draw a second 4 by 3 rectangle. Because according to this problem, I have to do 1 whole, so it's 4/4, and an additional 3/4. So I need 4/4 plus 3/4. And again, I'm going to shade in 2 out of my 3 columns, but that's going to go all the way down. So if I'm looking at my model here, I'm going to notice when I shade it in, so I'm going to shade in all 4 rows here, a 2 by 4 here, but here I'm only going to have a 2 by 3. So I'm not going to shade in the whole thing because I only have an additional 3/4, not all of it. But that's okay, because now I look. There are 12 that make up this model and 12 that make up this model. So my denominator is going to be 24. And out of the 24, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 shaded in. So I have to simplify that. I can divide the numerator and denominator by 2, and that would give me 7/12. Okay? All right, so we are done with this portion of the video. You're going to want to flip it over and do the back side, and then come have a talk with me. Don't forget, I want you to write down any observations you make as you go through these problems. All right? Okay, hold on 1 second. I did make a mistake. So let's go back and let's talk about problem number 4. I said it was 14 out of 24, but really it's 14 out of 12 because 12 makes up the whole of 1, not 24. I have 12 to make up the whole. So that's okay. I can still divide, and I get 7/6. And since that's an improper fraction, I would say 1 1/6 is my product. I apologize. Now, turn this paper over and do the problems on the back, and come and see me, and let's have a conversation.